Is your child a bully? Does your child lack empathy? And is that the reason they're bullying others? Will teaching them to be empathetic be enough to stop them from bullying? Well, in this video, you're going to find out if empathy can help and the most effective ways to teach it. Can empathy be taught to help stop bullying? Let's find out. It seems the world has been looking for a cure to bullying now for quite some time. But for some reason, this global issue has not gone away. For the past couple of years, the experts have been pushing new remedies, and many parents and educators are still asking, can empathy be taught to help stop bullying? Well, I have news for you. The answer is no. There is no cure for bullying. Empathy helps reduce bullying, but empathy alone is not enough. We have to also teach our children to be accountable, teach them what bullying is and their contributions to it, teach them to be responsible by destigmatizing, seeking help, and teach them to be more resilient by empowering them with strategies that can reverse the imbalance of power. All facts. Bullying is abusive behavior, and abusive behavior has been in existence for centuries. Bullying isn't a student issue or a school issue. Seriously though. It's a human issue. It's not just a national problem, but a global problem. So to put it frankly, bullying isn't going anywhere. It isn't going anywhere because most adults are victims of abuse and neglect and have much healing to do themselves. These are the same adults who are raising the majority of our children. Yeah. The unresolved issues these parents are dealing with have manifested in their children. As a parent, I'm no exception. Many adults and parents are so consumed with their careers and their adult responsibilities that little attention is given to healing from our childhood traumas. Yeah, man. My point is, if the parents and adults aren't healing, how likely is it that the children will? Empathy is not sympathy. According to Merriam-Webster, empathy is the act of understanding, being aware of, and being sensitive to the feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another. Empathy is a skill, not a trait. In other words, it's not something you're born with. It's something we learn to do based on the conditions of our environment. Yes, we can be taught to be more empathetic. Let's also not confuse empathy with sympathy. Sympathy is simply just feeling pity or feeling sorry for what someone else is going through. Empathy focuses more on understanding what others are thinking and feeling. Empathy alone is not enough, unfortunately. Unfortunately, to help reduce this global human problem called bullying, we have to do more than teach empathy. Without question, the world could use more empathy, but it's simply not enough. We have to also teach our children to be accountable by teaching them what bullying is and showing them the role we all play in the bullying dynamic. By having a better understanding of what bullying is and their contribution to it, they will be able to recognize opportunities to make better choices. We also need to teach our children to be responsible for one another by destigmatizing seeking help in illustrating the damages and consequences of not doing so. We also need to teach our children how to be more resilient. We must empower students with strategies that can reverse the imbalance of power that exists in bullying situations. How do you know if a child lacks empathy? It is important to observe and decide if a child lacks empathy. Some of us are more empathetic than others, but identifying the children who lack empathy should be the first thing we do. A child who is poor at reading visual cues regarding emotion, happy, sad, angry, etc. A child who has difficulty relating to others. A child who has difficulty being supportive of others. A child who has difficulty understanding how others might feel. Someone who usually is insensitive to the needs of others. Doesn't listen to others when they're talking. Someone who doesn't compliment or give positive feedback to others. Someone who shows cruelty to animals. Someone who is unresponsive to consequences. Someone who is frequently lying or stealing. How can empathy help? It supports the acceptance of strong emotions. It helps children learn to identify their feelings. It encourages children to share their feelings. It helps children find common grounds with one another. It helps children see how their behavior impacts others. It promotes children working together to achieve shared goals. It emboldens children to speak out and help others. How can we teach empathy? I've been a teacher for over 18 years. And I've also created an anti-bullying curriculum at my school where empathy happens to be the third unit. It was important to make empathy an integral part since many of the bullies I've interacted with lack it. Through some experimentation and analysis, I was able to narrow down teaching empathy to 6 clear steps. 1, get to know another person you believe is different from you. Most people don't take the time to do this due to fear, discomfort, or implicit biases. This lack of interaction leads us to making our own assumptions that are usually inaccurate or misguided. 2, look for things you have in common. By doing this, we begin to tear down the societal and cultural walls that divide us. It also starts to eradicate implicit biases that limit our relationships. 3, identify any prejudices you have about the person and educate yourself on how these prejudices have affected the group. By doing this, you will have a better understanding of someone else's plight, tribulations, and might even see similarities between your own struggles and your aspirations. 4, try to imagine what they feel or what they're thinking. 5, put yourself in their shoes. Try to imagine what you would feel like or remember what you felt like in a similar situation. 6, make a kind or compassionate gesture. Sometimes, even without implementing steps 1 through 5, step 6 makes an impact on its own. You'll find many of these strategies in the novel, The Bully Experience Daniel's Story. You can read it for free, as well as the article, Can Empathy Be Taught to Help Stop Bullying, at thebullyexperiencemovement.com.